So this has been something I've been meaning to do for almost a year now. I have had this car almost to the day for a year, and due to the current situation, the COVID-19 outbreak, I thought what better time than to wrench on the car and get some work done. So I've got a few bits that need doing, and I'll show you around. Just getting here for a bit. As you can tell, the car is not in ship shape at the moment. Let me just go under here. Whew. So there's a few things that I needed to do. I'll show you what. Oh, this is a lot harder to do with one hand. This is the wonderful engine. I believe this is originally supposed to be gold. You can tell by this little fleck here sticking out, but obviously someone wanted to paint it, the original owner, a much nicer colour, which I wouldn't say nice. I think this is going to go back to gold at some point in the future. Up here there's supposed to be a washer bottle, which is not currently attached. Oh, not up there, down here. This is all out, pulled out all the hosing up on the top here, beside the bin doos, which is actually very much out of date. I have all the hose in here. So I bought all that to replace, and this nugget bought 5mm hose, and it turns out it's 6mm hose, so that's a job that's going to have to wait. And the spare wheels out, because everything's out the back. I have found a ridiculously small amount of rust, and also what looks like there's been a fire. So this is the first time this has been out. As you can tell, there's the back seat, so I kind of need to put it all back together before I show you around. A bit like the more modern hatchbacks of the day, the seats drop, which make it really easy to get right through the car. So quite handy, quite innovative, I don't know, for the time. So I'm going to put this back together, and then you can join me when I'm done. There we go, that's all back together. As you can see, the spare wheel fits nicely back there. Lovely loading space, lovely for a picnic basket maybe. Let me try and close this with only one hand, using the elbow for support. I'll show you around the car. This is the back, obviously, with its lights. One of the lights are out, which needs doing. I would get it out and take it for a drive, however, due to government guidelines, I might get fined. So you might have to look forward to that in the future. There we go, this is up either side of the car. Oh, this is my log burner, that's going to go in the house at some point. Let me show you the front. You can see the state of my garage, it's an absolute disgrace. Here is the engine, you know, very engine-like, absolutely beautiful. One of the first times that this car was mated into this, the first times this engine was mated into the car, because originally it was some other engine side valve thing, and this is an Austin engine, the A series, which is very common in minis, obviously transversed in the minis, but obviously now, well, not now, but always has been in the Morris since I don't know, maybe like 1952 or something like that. I'll have to get my facts right on that. But this is a 1954 Morris Minor, and the colour is Clarendon Grey. Lovely thud there as we put the lid down, the bonnet. Beautiful thing. You can see it's got some age-related fading. The roof looks absolutely horrendous, but it's absolutely lovely. It's my little motor. Let me take you inside. Here we go. So we're now in the cockpit of the car. You can see here the massive steering wheel. Absolutely amazing piece of kit. It's got a horn that doesn't work, obviously, because it's a car that is nearly 66-year-old. The instrument cluster contains not an awful lot, to be honest. We've got kind of your speed gauge, your miles per hour. We've got your miles, which surprisingly, let me get a better angle of this. Can I go under? Yeah, there we go, perfect. So it's only got 50,461 miles on, which, looking at all of the bits and pieces, seem pretty original. We've got oil gauge, absolutely tiny little thing, and then on this side we have the fuel gauge, which is very temperamental, and you see in like the old war movies where they have to tap them to make it look right, and that's exactly what you need to do. You've got all your switches along here. So we have our starter thing, which we have our lights, which is one pull out. As you can see, the lights on the dash turn on when you do that, and then the main beam or not the main beam, but the dip beam, pull out even more, and then you can push them both back in. An interesting thing is when you're on main beam, or sorry, dip beam, the main beam is on the floor here. So you just press this little thing, and as you can kind of see, the lights raise and the lights lower. I do need to modify that a bit because they're all a little bit all over the place, and they do not really point straight, so I need to fix that. Up here, I need to turn the ignition on, sorry, so we've got ignition here, and a big red light. You might just be able to hear the fuel pump kicking in. This red light means that it's not charging the battery, so with it being a dynamo rather than alternator, it tends to only charge when you're revving the car. And then finally on the end, you've got a choke, which when I first started driving, I did not have a clue what that was. But what it does is it changes the mixture of air and fuel, and it just makes the car run better on a cold day, or makes it easier to start. I'm not very sciencey, nor am I pretty mechanical, so you might notice that I don't really know my stuff. I just like the car. I will be learning as I go, though. This is my COVID-19 isolation hobby. But this car was obviously made in 1954, which was a time when smoking was more important than anything else. So right on the front here, we've got an ashtray, which funnily enough, this car, of all things, have 2 ashtrays. So we've got one right down here. So this is for our rear passengers. There we go. We'll go past the handbrake, which actually is probably originally was a really nice gold colour. It's now fading a bit. And up the top here, this is the best switch. We'll just turn the ignition on. You lift this up, and then it turns the wipers on. Look at how amazing they are. Very loud in the garage though. Up here we've got a little switch here, which you push down and opens the glove box. This is coming out. The reason why I needed to change all of the tubing for the washer jets out the front there was because I tried to fit a radio, and it was positively charged, the car, so it burned through everything. So luckily I didn't run it across a fuel line. As you can see, the car's a tip at the moment. Let me take you around the back. This seat's really cool too. This folds down and forward. I've been told this would be great for a bride if the car was used for weddings. Here at the back, looks really comfortable. Sorry about the light. You can see the back of my Volvo there. That's my other baby, the daily driver, because this is useless for daily driving. So this is all original leather too. This has never been changed, as you can tell by the quality of it. It's slightly shabby, and I don't really think I want to do anything with this interior because it's absolutely beautiful with a shabby little interior. So as for in here, nothing much is going to get done. However, this light doesn't work, so that's something that does need doing. It's actually stuck on the headline, and on the car as well is actually really good too. So interior wise, we are pretty much spot on. And that's kind of a tour of the interior and exterior of a 1954 Morris Minor Series 2. I'm going to leave with pretty much a cold start. It's a bit chilly outside, so you can hear it start up. I'm really sorry that I am not going to get it out for a run, because I really don't feel like getting fined. However, I might take it out on the shop and run and video that so you can see how it runs. But anyway, I hope you enjoy this. Actually, before that, there was one thing I needed to show you. This fog light doesn't work, and of course, these are the indicators down here. Let me let that zoom in. Is it gonna want to work? This is the indicator here, and let me show you what it does. So this is right, as you can see, the light's flashing. Left indicator, it's on a bit of a slow release. Well, it should be on a slow release. That might need tightening up, but it's a trafficator, actually, not an indicator. So let me show you what that looks like. And yes, there's flashing bulbs in there, just for safety reasons. People tend not to notice just a single lit up bulb, so I thought I'd put the flashing ones in instead. But they're pretty cool.